contents. Okay, all right. So let's move ahead. So today we'll discuss data part design for remaining things like load, store, and branching. And the next class onwards, we'll start looking at we'll look at jump, data path for jump, and then we'll see how to generate control signals. So we'll spend a lot of time on single path, single cycle data path design because it's important. And from that, we'll directly jump on to pipeline design, because pipeline design is based on single cycle design. Okay, we'll not spend so much time on pipeline design as much we are spending on single cycle design. All right. So let's move ahead. So this all we have discussed so far. We have looked at a microarchitecture design, and within that we have looked at single cycle design so far, and we have designed the data path for R type, and I type instructions. Okay, all right. Okay, so this is what we have looked at. I mean, we started with the basic principle and attach various components like PC plus 4. I mean, every regular instruction execution PC increases by 4. And then we have seen two memories, instruction memory and data memory. And note that everything is happening within a cycle. Right? We start from here and go up to here. Within that one cycle, all the activities have got to be over. That's a constraint. Okay. And then we have a register file, ALU, and so on. Then look at the beautiful design it has. You know, directly take contents from instruction memory. That's when we read instruction, the bits are directly sent to register ports. Okay, like RS1, RD, RS1, and R2, RS2. Okay, if okay, these fields are, because these fields are fixed in instruction, right? So unlike x86 instruction, here everything is fixed. Position of RS1 is fixed, RS2 is fixed, RD is fixed. So we can directly take this contents from from memory and directly send it to ports in register file. Okay, and this is why we say that RISC architecture is simple. Uh, okay, now we have two memories here, right? Instruction memory and data memory. Can anybody tell me why we need two memories in single cycle data part design? Anyone? Who can tell me? Gunjan. Gunjan, are you there?
Yes, sir.
हाँ बताइए आप कैसे how do why do you need two memory? Why can't we have single memory which will have instruction data both? We can write and read from that single memory. Think. Can we do reading and
Sir,
write? Yeah, tell me.
sir, if we have a single memory, then we need like more than one cycle to access them separately.
So what instruction you want to access separately?
No,
See,
I mean instruction and data separately.
yeah, but why? Why is that? See, reading can be done at any point in time. Writing has to happen only once, right? I mean, so at only at the leading edge of the clock cycle. So what we are doing is mostly writing and reading. One write and one read. Okay. The answer, you are almost correct. Of course, there are some places where we can't do two things together in within cycle. For example, two reads. Can we do two reads, right? Because you have to have only one address in a at input port of memory. So instruction like there are some instruction when you have to do two reads. So first is of course instruction read you have to do. Okay, and then when you are doing say load LW, then again you have to read. So how can you do two reads, right? Similarly, there may be instances where you have many these two kind of operations cannot be done in single cycle. Okay, so that's the reason we need two memories. All right, let's move ahead. Okay, and just a minute, it got stuck. Wow. All right, so then we came to this one, our type of instructions and data path for that. And we have then we have added this red color line that is shown here, that output of ALU goes to register input. Okay, and then we have done add I, added add I instruction. So add I instruction required this unit, and which generates immediate value, and then we add this to contents coming from register, and you know sorry, we add this to contents coming from register 1, and then output goes back to register. And then somebody asked this question that why we need this signal, because immediate generation is not the same. So ultimately what we are adding here is 32-bit immediate, right, which is sign extended. But if you look at the different instructions, then immediate field is of different kind. Okay, we'll see that. So hence we need some kind of control signals uh, which will tell what kind of immediate operation, or what kind of how to actually assemble bits coming from instruction and create 32-bit signed integer. Okay, we will look at this. So this kind of data path that okay. Okay, so this was the flow. Okay, read instruction. First get the current value of PC, read instruction, and then we can see that RA and RB values are taken from here. There's two register that we are reading. Output goes here. Okay, now what happens is that this is not used because we are using immediate field. So the immediate field is taken from here, immediate generation happens here, this mux is given proper control signal, and this output goes here. So we are adding to contents of a register, say A, immediate value, immediate field values, right? And then like add I, RD, RA, and then some immediate field, right? So these two are added and moved into register D. So the output then goes here. So it's simple. All right. So and this is the data path, complete data path for instruction we have studied till now. So this is where we are. Okay, now we are trying to add to this one data path for load word and store word and branch instruction. So these three we will study today. Okay, note that load word is I type of instruction. Okay, the format is as follows. Load word, this is the okay, load where, load to a register X14, then from where, from memory whose contents whose location is given by contents of X2 added with 8. So 8 is displacement or offset. So read the contents of x2, add to that 8 and go to that memory, read the word and the word of 32 bits and bring it to register x14. So that's all it's doing, right? So its fields are as follows. You would have already studied this machine instruction of LW, this opcode, then this RD, RS1. We are using two registers here. Note that RS1 is always used for offset, read, basically base register. I'm sorry, it's not offset, it's a base register to which you add offset and then get the address. So RS1 is always used as a base register. And then immediate field, which is of 12 bits. Okay. All right. So now immediate field generation here, when we are generating immediate field, the immediate field generator will take 12 bits and create 32 bit of immediate field. Okay. So it's so what are we adding here? So we are loading words. So now we are adding this part. The one which is shown in the circle here. Okay. So for previous one we have not used data memory. Okay. So now we have added data memory part here. And now, of course, the out for other instructions like R type of instruction, output will come from LU, which we don't need in, for if you're running say R type of instruction, then output will go here. So we'll add one multiplexer here to select what output we should take, whether it's coming from memory or from ALU. Okay. So this is the design. Let's relook at it. Okay. So this is the design. Okay, so let's just, okay, will give me a minute. Okay, we'll go through complete flow. Okay, so what happens is first, based on PC value, which comes from PC, we read the instruction. Okay, and we read the instruction. It means that all the bit values are available. Now what are we going to do? We are using these bits. Okay, because this becomes base base address, base register. We read it from here. Okay, and then what are we going to do? Okay, just we can look at here. So we have, see, load word. Okay, so where are we loading? We are loading it to destination register, right? So now this also has to be there. So we read these two. Of course, the values are going to all ports, but these ports will be considered. So output from this will be selected. So now, okay, all right. So now reading is done from here. So output of register RS1 is available here, and our output from second register B, RS2 is available here. Okay. Obviously, we are not going to use this one. Okay, and then immediate field 12 bits will be taken here in immediate generation, and 32 bits are made here. Okay, by sign extension, and input comes here. Now what signal we need to do? We need to select the one that's coming at the bottom, that's immediate generation field. So this will not be selected. So give control signal is 1. So output is available here. Now note that this is offset. Okay, now offset plus this gives, upper one gives you base value, base register value, and then this gives you overall address of the memory. Okay, now this address of the memory is taken in here. Of course, this also goes here to this multiplexer, but we now this memory, based on this, reading can be done any point in time. The memory data value is read based on this address, and output is available here. Now give appropriate control signals such that lower input is selected, that's coming from memory is selected. So output from memory is now available here. That the word that we have, so we have read a word here, and word value is available here, and then we are going to store this into register. Okay, and whose address is given by these bits here, these bits. And now, okay, now what we need to do? Now we need to give appropriate control signal here such that writing can be done. So these bits are available, these are to be written in the register file. Hence now control signal has to be appropriate such that whatever address is available here, at that address, whatever data is available onto this bus should be written. So this completes the instruction. Any question?
So the value that is being outputted by ALU, why is it connected to like that
Mm-hmm.
that selector in which we select WB select equal to 0?
Yeah, here,
Why
right?
is the direct?
This
Yes,
one.
sir. Why is the, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So if you are running R type of instruction, what are you doing in that? Because this is from the previous design. Okay, when you are doing say add, say RD, R1, R2, right? This is the instruction. So what are we doing here? We are taking the value of, we need to take two values of R1 and R2. Okay. Okay, and then we have to bring it to register D. So where we'll get this value? Okay, so if you look at it, okay, so okay, so first value R1 will come here. Just let me clean it up. Uh, when we are doing RD, R1, R2 and doing add, value of R1 and R2 to be added. So these two instruction will come here. Here we'll get address of R1 and R2, and R1 will be read here, R2 will be read here. You need to give appropriate control signal, should be 0. So this is available here. So now R1 and R2 to be added. So we have added that by giving add signal here. So add, this output is available here. Now where the output has got to go to? It has got to go to RD. So RD is coming here, address RD is coming here, but data has to come from ALU, which we are, summation of these two we have to store into register, right? So now this has, see, we are not using memory here. So this output now will come here. And now if we select 1, multiplexer give control as 1, then this output will be available here now. Okay. All right. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you,
So
sir.
yeah, basically, that line is coming from previous designs, and now output of memory is going to register. Similarly, output of ALU is in certain instruction may also will also go to register. Right now, the out values are available. See, some junk value, even if you are not using it, some this value, some value is available, which is actually this is a memory address is available here, but we are going to select the appropriate one. Okay, why? When we are doing add instruction, then actual good value, useful value is available here, and something that's some junk value might be available here, so it doesn't matter really. Okay, because we are not going to select that. So we are actually creating as we are adding more instruction, we will use more multiplexers and select appropriate input, and these multiplexers are operated with the control signals that are generated here. Okay, all right, so let's move ahead and do it for now. So now with this design we can do all this. Okay, very simple. So now look at the immediate encoding in journal. in various type of instruction. When we say immediate encoding, it means that data value is encoded in the instruction. Okay, all right. So now look at R type of instruction, and you will see R type. Okay, so for example, we can have uh, add immediate. So immediate, this is add immediate type of coding. This is okay. So we have here in S type of instruction, we have some fields where we give data values directly. Okay, in B type we have fields here, where we give data values directly, and U type we give here, and J type we give here, I field. And okay, there's one R type of instruction where you have immediate data values. Okay, so what we are trying to say it here is that immediate fields are not always in the same position in all instructions, right? They are at different positions. Okay, hence there is a role of this immediate field generator. For example, when we are running a J type of instruction, it will take the bits that are here and generate 32-bit, immediate sign extended immediate. Okay, if it is U type, then we'll take these bits and generate 32-bit, immediate, and so on, right? So this device that we have here has a important role to play depending on kind of instruction is in execution. Corresponding control signal will be generated to take appropriate bits from all 32 bits available here and generate immediate value of 32 bits, which is correct based on the instruction that, sorry, wow, uh, just a minute. Okay. All right. Okay. Any question? Is it clear? Shall I repeat? Okay. बोलो भाई.
Sir, last part was little confusing. That imitate from different
Okay. All right.
portions.
Okay. So it's like this. Okay. All right. So now for immediate field, say when we do, for example, I will show you. Okay. Let's go back to, yeah, this section. So what are we doing here in add I? We have 12 bits available as part of instruction. Okay, if you look at add I instruction format, then you have immediate field of 12 bits, right? Okay, so now those 12 bits, and these bits are available at certain position, right? Okay, so that position, look at the immediate field, immediate instruction, add immediate instruction format, and you will see it's at certain position these are available, and then it will take 12 bits from those position in instruction and generate 32-bit here. Okay, now just think about it. Okay, now let's move to different case altogether. Okay, for example, in okay, load word is exactly similar. It will take 12 bits from this position and generate 32-bit. Okay, now in many instruction this immediate field is not exactly between bit 12 20 and bit 31, and also immediate field is not necessarily always 12 bits, right? So we have seen the immediate field in case of jump could be 20 bits. Okay, and also in case of branch we see that one bit is, is spread out, right? It's not exactly in the same position. So what I am trying to say is that now these immediate fields in different instructions are not uniform, or or we can say different instruction types have these bits in different positions. So now these, and from that we have to generate 32-bit immediate, okay, which is sign extended. Then we have to reassemble these bits differently to create 32-bit uh, output, right? And this is the role of, so now we have seen only one example where we are using 12-bit. Now we'll see others, we'll show you, okay? So once it, so now in different instruction you can see these bits, constant field or the constant bits which gives displacement or something else are at different positions, right? We can see it here. And while, so input could be any, either this one or from here, wherein these two values are, these two set of values are taken, or from this instruction or from this instruction. So it could be from any one of these, okay? But immediate, look at the position of these fields are different in different instructions. So it has to know which instruction is executing, which it comes now from controls signal, and then look at the bits here that are incoming, and then take the appropriate bits. For example, in case of I type of instruction, we will take bits from these bits, okay, and then generate immediate field, okay. All right. So idea is that you have to look at different instruction and look at immediate field, where are they available, and correspondingly generate immediate field. Sorry, this it will be here, these are the immediate field here in case of I. So these 12 bits it will take, generate 20 bits. If instruction is say S type, then it will consider the bits here and here to generate immediate field, right? So that's how it's done. So we'll see. Next instruction is store instruction. Okay, and we have seen that store byte is most popular, store word, and then we have store byte and store half word. Okay, the format is as follows. Note that LW and SW have different formats, which you would have studied by now. And both LW and SW use a base register, and this is RS1. Okay. In case of store register, store word, we are taking a okay, base register of course is RS1, but the contents of RS2 registers are to be put into memory, data memory, right? Okay. All right, and rest of, and then immediate field which forms the offset is here. Okay, 0 to 4, there's a 5 bits are here and 7 are here, so this makes 12 bits. So now what I was trying earlier is that now the immediate field generator, or this device that we have seen, will input to this is 32 bits, right? That's coming from this actually instruction, but it has to take these fields like here and the field here, this one, and then generate. Yeah, now this becomes 12 bits and then sign extend it and make 32-bit immediate. Okay, that's the purpose. So basically in earlier instruction we have seen we didn't have immediate bits at this position, but only all 12 bits were available here in case of earlier instructions. Now in this instruction is a different, hence this generation of immediate will be different here, right? The one that's shown here. Okay. So this was a data path for LW, and now we have to increase or enhance it to make it usable for SW. Okay, what will be changed? Any thought? What are we doing? In one case, in case of LW, we are writing into register, register file. We are reading from memory and writing register file. In case of SW store, we are reading from register file and writing into memory. So do you see any, do you think that there should be any change here in the data path?
We should have write enable signal for D memory as well.
Yeah. So control signals will always be different. Okay, let's see. Okay, all right. So, okay. So this is the, so what are we doing now here? First, we will see what extra we need, right? So we have PC value available. So PC will current value of PC. From this we read instruction. Okay. Now what we are reading now we are doing is store. Now what all we need here for store? We need a base address. So basically we need to find out address of the memory location, right? So we have base address or base register. We have offset. Okay, and then we have register from which we are taking the data. So some register, say RS2. Okay, all right. So now let's see. We have base register value. We take it from here, and this is the register content that we need to write to memory, right? Okay, so this is the base register. Okay, and then to base register we need to add offset. Okay, so we take bits from here. Okay, so immediate generation, it will generate offset, 32-bit offset, it will come here. Okay, now in order to get the actual or the effective memory address to which we want to write, we need to select this one. So B cell should be 1 and output will come here. Okay, so base address is coming from here and output is now available here, which is nothing but memory address. So it goes to address port. All right, one part is over. Now where do we get data now? Data is available here. Okay, this data that we want to write to memory, and now we need to add something more than, right? Now there's no path from here to memory. Okay, so we need to add an additional path here, right? So this is what is shown here. So we add this one and take it to data memory. Okay, so this thing is added. All right, and rest of things are the same. So now output of this we are not using, right? So we, this output may be available because reading is happening all the time. So this control signal has to be don't care, it can be anything. So here the whole operation is ended because we are not writing it back to register file, right? Because it's not LW, it's SW. So take the content from register and write it to memory. So this is how it works. Any question? Question?
Yes, sir. Sir, in case of load words, we'll have to like read four of the memory this thing, right? Four addresses from memory because but we can read only one at a time.
No, how do you say 4?
Sir, because
Okay.
we are loading up.
So basically, see, look at the instruction for load. It has to give you address of the register on which you want to write, right? Load word in register file. Loading is reading it from memory and writing into register. So it has got to have address of register. Fine, that's given. Then we need to know what is the memory address. In order to calculate the address, we use base register. So there has to be base register, which is RB. Sorry, RA. Okay, okay, and then what do you need? You need offset. Okay, so
Yes.
we need a destination register, which is on which you're writing, and then base register from where you take the base address, and offset. Okay, from base register and offset, you combine that, you get memory address. Okay, and once you get memory address, you read word from that and bring it to register file whose address is given in the instruction, which is RD. Okay,
Sir, but data memory is also byte addressable, right?
yeah, data memory is I mean, we have seen that reading a word, when we say address of a word is nothing but address of a starting byte of the word. Okay, that
Yes.
we know, we have studied that, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we don't need 4 addresses, we need just one address. I mean, see, whether we are reading a half word or a byte or a word, the address is the same.
Yes.
Okay, in case of word, we take just from that starting address, we take 4 bytes. In case of byte, we take just 1 byte.
Yes, sir, but at a time, we can read only one field from data memory, right?
No, why do you say? What is the width of this? This is a bus.
Okay.
Bus is always, I mean, in this design is 32 bits. While we are showing it here as, single line, it is 32 bits. Okay.
Yes, we can read a word at a time.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that otherwise you will need 4 cycles, na?
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
We can do it. We are doing it in 1 cycle. Always remember one thing. Okay, within a computer, within a processor, we are using buses which are of multiple bits. It means that multiple bits are traveling together or parallelly, concurrently from source to destination.
Okay. Yes.
And since you are doing networking course, remember that in networking, always bits are transmitted sequentially, one after other. It's never done parallelly because of different set of problems here, right? On Ethernet, you send bits one by one. Okay, when you do communication over satellite, you send bits one by one. Okay, in
Yes.
TCP/IP, you assume the bits are coming one by one. Okay, however,
Yes.
within a computer, things are under your control. It's a synchronous system. Altogether, it's a completely synchronous system, and you can, and you want to really achieve the speed, so you transfer the bits parallelly. All right, so let's move ahead. All right, so now we can see that what I was emphasizing is that design of this has to be such that depending on instruction, control instruction, it has to do different operation. For example, for I and S type of instruction, immediate generation will take certain things in account. For example, for S type of instruction, these 5 bits are taken here. Okay, so this is actually what here is nothing but 12 bits, sign extended by 20 bits. So now what we do is that here we take 4 bits in case of S instruction, 4 bits here, and then take 4 bits, 5 bits from here between 20 and 24. And if it's I type of instruction, select this. If it's if it's I type of instruction, select this one. If it's S type of instruction, then select this one. And then remaining bits that are available here, you bring it here, and then sign extended. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that this design of this has to consider all this, what instruction is executing, and depending on, take different bits. For example, S type of instruction, then take these bits, and then bits from here, and bits from here, and combine them and create immediate field. Okay, all right, so let's move. Okay, somebody is please mute yourself. Okay, all right, let's look into data path for branches. We know the theory of branch, right? I mean, if we don't have branch, then decision making usually decision making is not possible, right? Okay, and then you also know that we change the value of PC. The in case of branches, etc., we have PC related addressing. Okay, so we many instruction we use PC relative addressing, or we can actually use absolute addressing. In one instruction, some instruction we also use absolute addressing. We will see first PC relative addressing. Okay, so these are the instruction we have studied. Okay, so we have conditional branches. Based on the two register values, we take a decision and jump to a certain location, right? So we have branch on equal to, branch on not equal to, BLT and BLTU, branch on less than and branch on less than unsigned, branch on greater than equal to, or branch on greater than equal to unsigned, and these are unconditional jumps. So we are not comparing register and taking a decision, but say when this instruction comes, simply jump, like jump register JAL and JALR. Okay, so we'll first look at the design of branch, and then next class we look at the jump instructions. Okay, so this is the format. This is kind of B kind of B format, right? It's similar to S format. It means that it has 2 register and 12-bit immediate. Now note that when we say similar, it's not exactly same, because position of this, some fields will be different. Okay, so for example, here immediate field is different. So immediate field is here, immediate bit 11th bit of immediate is here, 1 to 4 is these bits, 5 to 10 is here, and 12 is here, right? And remember that we discussed this in detail. All right. So now assembly of this, in order to create a 32-bit immediate field, will different from what we have seen in earlier instructions. Okay, say add immediate type of instruction. Okay, and remember also that the 12 immediate bits encode 13-bit signed byte offset, right? Because lowest bit we add to 12 bits at a 0 at the end, right? So that makes 13, and but we don't need to encode it. This all we have studied, and all right, so I don't want to repeat it. So this is the assembly instruction that you have studied. Okay, branch on equal to, it means that when x1 and x2 is equal to, then jump to label. So this is assembly. But when we convert this into machine instruction, we replace this by offset with respect to PC, right? So we jump to a location which is certain locations away from current location. Okay, so or certain bytes away from current location, right? Okay, and that we call it PC relative addressing. So this again we have studied. All right, so now let's look at the instruction. Okay, so if okay, so what we do is here is that we compare two registers, RS1 and RS2, and if they are equal, and if the instruction is branch on equal to, then we jump to certain location. Okay, otherwise if condition is not met, we increase the PC by 4. Okay, so this is the case when branch is not taken, and then we jump to PC plus immediate if the branch is taken. Okay, all right. Now this immediate is actually what we generate using these bits and by adding 1 0 to that at the end. All right. Okay. Now note, there is something now very important. Okay, so two ALU operations we'll have to do here. Okay, first is that now we are comparing RS1 and RS2. Contents of RS1, first register is compared with the second register, whatever is defined in the instruction, right? So two register comparisons are there. So this is one instruction. And where is the second one? Second one is this one. Okay, so we PC plus immediate. Okay, this gives a target address, right? So now we can't do this, right? So what we do is that, because ALU can be used once, only once, so we add a comparator here. This is extra hardware we use. Okay, and then it has one input. This the red color line shows input. Okay, whether it says as a unsigned comparator or signed comparator, and it has two outputs, branch on equal to and branch and less than. So if A is register A is equal to B, then B or EQ is equal to 1. So this will be 1. If it is they are not equal to, this will be 0. Okay. Similarly, B or LT, if A is less than B, this will be 1, and otherwise it will be 0. Now I'm asking you this question, where this will go to? See, if both registers are equal, it means the branch is to be taken. Okay, then PC value will be PC plus offset, or immediate, right? Who will decide that? Is a control unit will correspondingly, if branch is to be taken, control unit correspondingly will generate control signals such that proper multiplexers are enabled. Otherwise, okay, there's no way to manage this, right? So it means that these control signals will go to control unit. Okay, so this is here. So we have added this thing here, this extra piece of hardware, and because of that we need to add some multiplexers, right? You can see there are multiplexers now. Okay, and note that output of this control unit is coming here in control signal, control unit. Okay, now this controls, if we are running say instruction like BEQ, RS1, RS2, and some label or offset. So now if this is equal, then the control signal will be here 1, and then control unit knows that they are equal. Now PC should be PC plus offset. So now it will enable some it will do proper control to certain multiplexers. Okay, all right. Any question? All right, so now let's go through it, right? So all right, so let's execute BEQ RS1, RS2, and then some number immediate field given here. Okay, so let's please consider this a machine instruction. So we will not say label, but this is offset, immediate field, right? I will not say even offset, immediate field, immediate. Okay, so what are we doing now? PC, first take PC. Okay, read instruction. Okay, now we are reading two registers. These two are the one which we are using. That since this does not have RD, there is no destination register, so this is not used. Although value will come here, but it will not be considered. Now what are we doing? Two RS1 and RS2 value comes out here, and we are doing comparison here. Okay, and based on this, these control signals are generated. So we generate this signal. So BR equal EQ, this will become now 1. Okay, now what will happen because of this becoming 1? Now we need to add PC value to PC plus offset. Okay, or immediate. So where we'll get PC now? The PC is coming here. So now you add this line and take the value here. Okay, so now it comes to multiplexer, because ALU earlier had some inputs, okay, directly coming from for our kind of instruction. So we add, so those register file output was here, so we are adding one multiplexer here. All right. And what is offset now? Offset is generated by this. Okay. Okay, and then this is selected. Okay, so the one he is collected, the output now is available here. I will repeat. Okay, so you can see that these two register values are taken from here, because what we are doing BEQ RS1 RS2 and then immediate field, immediate number. So these two are taken here. These are compared in this comparator. This will become correspondingly, this will generate a control signal. This will becomes 1. This is now, this now will be used by control unit to enable different multiplexers, right? So now what will happen is that we need to create the jump address. Okay, so now this is PC plus immediate. So this value of PC is taken in, current value of PC is taken in. Now give proper control signal to upper multiplexer. So this now comes here, and offset, the immediate field comes from here. Give proper control signal to the multiplexer before ALU, the lower end of ALU, the output comes here. Now this is what does this give? This gives now PC plus offset. PC is, because PC is coming here, this is offset, so PC plus offset is here. Now what is it? This will be new value of PC, because now the next instruction executed will be address current value of PC plus offset becomes the next value of PC. So this comes here. Now based on this value, you give the control signal here such that upper input is selected. So now next value of PC is equal to earlier value of PC plus this offset. Yeah? Offset is nothing but immediate field. Is it clear? Is there any doubt in this one? Note that depending on instruction, control unit generates signals such that data movement happens properly and different operations are done, whether it's writing or reading or ALU operation. So there is a very important role of this here in order to generate control signals, proper control signals, to enable various multiplexers right here, or inputs here, or multiplexers here or here. Okay, so such that data movement happens. Okay, all right, so this is what we have discussed earlier, how we generate 32-bit immediate field from different instructions. Okay, all right. All right, so this is how we do. So this is what we have studied today. Any question, please feel free to ask the question, because this is little I mean, you need to do this exercise at home and see if it works, right? Say it's like this. So first get PC value, then instruction, then 2 register value, address of 2 registers, and then get 2 data output from 2 register, do branch comparison. If they are equal, this will be fine. If they are not equal, this will be 0. Then we are not going to do PC is equal to PC plus offset, or we are doing a PC is equal to PC plus 4. Okay, all right. So in that case, PC plus 4 anyway we are doing here. So control signal correspondingly will be such that the bottom one is selected. Okay. If branch is to be taken, then we get the PC value here, do the offset offset will comes from here. Add this, and this now changes the value of PC. So you select the upper one in that case. That's all. It's simple. Note that in this we are not using data memory. Also, we are not using doing any writing onto the register file. Is it okay? Meet Patel.
Yes, sir.
I okay. All right. Okay. Please let me know if you don't understand anything. But all I want you to do is that go through these slides, try to execute remaining instructions. See, I have taken only one from the set for immediate and so on. Do the remaining. Try to execute them and find out if it works. Because in the exam I will ask certain questions based on this. Okay.
Sir, can you upload the recorded session in the classroom? This one.
This one, right? Yeah, of course I will do that. Okay. All right. Thank you. Bye bye.